A few years ago, someone calculated that if everybody in China were to start eating meat regularly, and if the world's production of meat were to remain where it is today, then in about the year 2030, 2031, China alone would be consuming 74% of the world's production of meat, leaving 26% for the rest of us. So maybe once a month, if you are a meat eater, a little bit of meat hiding bashfully and ashamedly behind a piece of cabbage. So is veganism the way to go? To answer that question, or at least partly, we have Donovan, how veganism can assist us in envisaging a better world.
Thank you. It's quite interesting. Usually when I'm asked to speak in buildings like a bank, no one's really talking about green stuff. So my speech is going to be a lot of re-emphasis on stuff that people have already been speaking about. But I'm really excited that there is so much progression here already. The fourth industrial revolution is probably not something that I can speak about because I know very little about it. I want to make it a little bit simpler. And I want to start with the idea of imagining a perfect world. Imagine if you could create a perfect world. What would it look like? What would the people look like? What would we all do in the perfect world? What would our cities look like? What would nature look like? And what would the world look like for the other beings that are sharing the planet with us? I have no doubt that if we surveyed everyone in the room, we would have a lot of different ideas of what the perfect world would look like. We have different priorities, we have different interests. We would almost definitely have different ideas in our minds. But as hard as it would be to predict what we would all be thinking, I also think it's very easy to predict what we wouldn't have been imagining. I don't think anyone would have imagined rainforest clearing in the perfect world, or pollution, or ocean dead zones, or hospitals full of obese people dying of chronic diseases. We wouldn't imagine hunger. We wouldn't imagine animals dying for no good reason. I don't think anyone would have imagined billions of animals living in factory farms, or even a single animal being led to slaughter. So as we look at the fourth industrial revolution and we try to figure out where we want to go, I think more important than trying to imagine the perfect world is looking at what the world looks like now and what are the biggest problems that we're trying to solve. The organization I work for, we've identified four main areas: health, environment, animals, and justice. And when we look back at the previous industrial revolutions, although all of them have done some work to help all of those things, I think, and they've all done some good work to make us wealthier and to make things more efficient and to give us more free time, I could argue for a lot of them we haven't done very well. For heart disease, we haven't done well. For obesity, we haven't done well. For the number of animals dying, we haven't done well. And for our environment, I don't think we've done well. So when we look at the fourth industrial revolution, I think the first point that I'd really like to make is this one, that we need to ensure that the technologies that we develop focus on our biggest problems and our biggest priorities. And the second one, which I actually think is way more important, is that we remember that we don't have to wait for the fourth industrial revolution. We don't have to wait for governments or big business. We don't have to wait for anyone else to make a change. The biggest contributors to the biggest problems we have are animal agriculture, from chronic disease to environmental degradation to animals dying and to world hunger. Animal agriculture is one of the biggest causes. And one of the biggest solutions is moving towards a plant-based diet. For health, I mean, I stuck Novak there because he won yesterday and he's on a plant-based diet. Environmental, there's very few ways to get land back, but one of the ways is to reduce the amount of land needed for grazing. Obviously, we can kill less animals, and we can eat some really exciting food. It's a Beyond Meat burger. I'm sure everyone's heard of the Beyond Meat burger. So that's the introduction to what I'd like to talk about. To me, one of the most important things is that switching away from an animal agriculture-based society towards one that focuses on plant-based is one of the best ways to change the world. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And I think in many ways you've captured the essence of the theme this evening, where we observe more and more people globally escaping poverty, earning more money, but because of that, consuming more goods, and hence this challenge of surviving all this prosperity.